I'm 32 years old. I've been registered to vote since I was 18. This is the first year I've gotten a ballot mail. First year. What happened to my other ones? I have no idea.
We're doing events all around the state, and every day and every night, and sometimes multiple times a day. So thanks for braving the blustery weather and being here for a quick review to talk about getting out the vote. We're going to go quickly before it starts to monsoon through our program, and we have to lead us off here today our endorsed candidate for State Attorney General, Pete Serrano. Pete.
Behind me is what's called the Temple of Justice. Yep. The only way we get justice is having someone represent constitutional principles and freedom. And that's what you'll get with me as your Attorney General. The phone calls I've received have been positive. Mr. Serrano, I don't know you. I'm reading about you. I like what I hear. Want to understand that what's written about you is the real deal. And all those conversations have been positive. One person called me and said, well, if you're aligned with the Republican Party, I can't vote for you. And I'm like, well, you read that I was a Republican, right? So aside from that, you know, it's been phenomenal reception.
Thanks, Pete. And what you have done to draw attention to the Attorney General's office has been incredibly valuable. I mean, when we started this cycle out a year or so ago, I was talking to people who didn't even understand that the Attorney General is separately elected. They didn't know. They thought it was appointed, the position was appointed by the governor. So I think you've been shining a lot of light on that. We've had a long run of lawyers as state treasurer, and I think, and a lot of people think, it's time for an actual CPA, an actual accountant, to be our state's treasurer. And Sharon, please tell us about your race for state treasurer.
In this position of state treasurer, never having a CPA ever in the history of Washington State from the private sector. We've had 4 years of 2016 to 2020. CPA Dwayne Davidson, he did an excellent job. And so I want to kind of carry on some of the things he might have started, which is to make sure we have internal controls over our accounting methods. Over and over again, it is this lack of internal controls. And as my friend Cindy said, make internal controls great again. This is something we have not had, and this is why your money, your taxpayers' money, is being lost, is being stolen. And so just a few tweaks from someone who understands financial accounting systems can make that difference, and I want to be that treasurer that can make that difference.
Candidate or endorsed candidate for Congress, for U.S. Congress, in the 8th Congressional District, a district which really is closer than some people think in terms of being a district that's in play. And Carmen Goers did very well in the primary.
Many of us, like myself, have millennial children who are concerned that they are not going to be able to live where they grew up. They're not going to be able to send their kids and do things with their children that they had the opportunity to do. And I'm running to restore that hope and for our future generations. As a grandmother of 4 with the 5th one due here in a few weeks, so I'm really excited about that. But what we've been talking about, we've crisscrossed our district. We're over 7,000 square miles. Most of you aren't from the 8th Congressional, so I'll tell you, we cover the east side of King, Pierce, Snohomish counties. We cross over to Kittitas and Chelan County, out to Douglas County. So you think Manson, you think East Wenatchee. We're a little over 7,300 square mile territory. So we've driven over 30,000 square miles in the last year to get our message out. And we're really proud that as we're doorbelling, I was doorbelling in Wenatchee last weekend, and people got their ballots and they had already voted. And they're excited to vote. So we want to make sure that we get that engagement up and that we meet them at their door. So we're still doorbelling every day, we're calling every day, and we're seeing great, enthusiastic voters out there. And I want to encourage that.
See and believe and have that hope that their vote will count and make a difference. And next I'd like to introduce it's somewhat secure. Anyway, next up I'd like for everyone to hear a few words from one of my colleagues in the legislature, Cindy Jacobson, who represents the 25th Ledge District. That's Pierce County and Puyallup, basically, areas around that, and has really been a great voice in the caucus room and on the floor of the House, right behind you here.
To get your neighbors for a few blocks around you to get out and vote and help them understand the issues and help them to get out and put out a voice for mainstream people. Because mainstream people want reasonable taxes. They don't think it's right for the government budget to double in 10 years and for taxes to go up even more than that. And then now we have a $5.46 billion shortfall, and they don't think it's right that we're going to solve that probably by raising taxes. Maybe raising taxes locally from 1% on our property taxes to 3%.
Boom.
You know, doing things that just don't make sense for mainstream people. We have minors who are transitioning, and they are having gender-affirming surgery, and they're having puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones. And those are the kinds of things that I had a bill about that in the last legislature, outlining that. And those are the kinds of things that regular people are concerned about, and regular people want us to do something about.
I just want, not so much about King County, but guys, I'm going to give you a quick history lesson. The closest we came in winning governor in my recent memory was 2012, after Dino Rossi got robbed the first two times. But Rob McKenna got 48.56%. What happened in 2012, and why does that correlate to what's happened in 2024? Well, in 2012, there was two initiatives on the ballot that year. It was the legalization of marijuana and the legalization of gay marriage. That brought out the Democrat base, and that's what got them to get them across the finish line. I'd make the argument if those two initiatives were on the ballot that year, Rob would have been elected governor. So now what do we have in 2024? Well, thank God for Brian Haywood. Thank God for Let's Go Washington. We have 4 initiatives that are going to come out there. And I think those initiatives can swing the votes 3 to 6 points. That puts our candidates in the winning realms for a lot of the legislative districts as well. So do something. Do not sit on the sidelines. There's been so many people our candidates have made huge sacrifices. Brian Haywood and Let's Go Washington, millions and millions of dollars that have never been done before. Poor Brian, I don't know, I'd be throwing up in a toilet if I had to write a check that big, but thank God he did it. So get excited, get to work, and let's go win this thing. Thank you.
Vote yes. Yes. Vote yes. Yes. Vote yes. Yes. Thank you. Next up, I'd like to have Lenny come down, who's he's the head of the Young Republicans.
What are we going to get our friends to do? Vote. What are we going to get our families to do? Vote. What are we going to get our church members to do? Vote. Our candidates, your party, the Young Republicans are out there working hard to help our candidates. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to the individual. It comes down to each and every one of us to make sure we turn in our ballots, to make sure our families turn in their ballots, to make sure our church members turn in their ballots, to make sure our friends turn in their ballots. We need to vote. Yep. So again, what are we going to do? Vote! What are we going to get our families to do? Vote! What are we going to get our church members to do? Vote! What are we going to get our neighbors to do?
Vote! Well, not my neighbors. I'm a Democrat, so I don't care.
Don't vote often.